I laugh. You have to pay.
I still pay. Yes.
Okay.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Will Smith didn't just fade away. He got kicked out of the spotlight like he overstayed his welcome. We're talking about a man who went from saving the planet in Independence Day to filling seats with AI avatars because real people don't even bother showing up to his concerts anymore. That's not reinvention. That's humiliation in high definition. At this point, watching Will try to patch up his image feels like watching somebody do CPR on a goldfish. Sure, it looks skillful, but everyone knows that fish is gone. And let's not forget, there was a time when Will was actually that guy, the man who could yell "Welcome to Earth" while punching aliens in the face and nobody even blinked. Those days are buried deeper than his marriage, and that says a lot. What we're seeing isn't just a celebrity breakdown, it's a masterclass in self-destruction. From the Oscar slap that echoed worldwide to fake tears over cheese nobody even cared about, Will managed to flip his legendary status into a warning sign for every star who thinks fame can't crumble. Even his AI-generated fans gotta be low-key embarrassed right now. But let's be real, the chaos didn't begin at the Oscars. That was just the breaking point. For years, people were hypnotized by the perfect family image, while Jada was out here redefining the word entanglement and making Will look like he needed Google Maps to track down his own dignity. And then came that red table talk, the infamous one where Jada casually admitted to her entanglement with August Alsina. It wasn't just uncomfortable, it felt like emotional torture on live TV. Will sat there stiff, eyes screaming he'd rather be anywhere else, even trapped in a Black Widow's web, while Jada explained it all like she was describing a yoga pose that went horribly wrong.
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes.
But here's where it gets flat out tragic. Instead of keeping things private like any normal person, Will turned himself into the internet's favorite punching bag. The memes practically wrote themselves, the Fresh Prince of Despair, the Pursuit of Sadness, and even 50 Cent slid into his DMs asking if he was okay. When 50 Cent is checking on your mental health, that's basically a celebrity-level wellness check. You just know the man's down bad. Then came March 27th, 2022, the night Will Smith hit the self-destruct button on his own career. Chris Rock cracked a joke about Jada's bald head, and Will stormed the stage like he was auditioning for WrestleMania. Nobody saw it coming, and nobody wanted it. The slap itself was shocking enough, but what followed, that was straight-up cringe poetry. Will strutted back to his seat and shouted at the top of his lungs,
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Like he was protecting the honor of someone who had already dragged his name through more mud than a monster truck rally. The man went to war for a person who had been clowning him publicly for years, and that ain't loyalty. That's just another messy entanglement with VIP seating. And the fallout? Swift and ruthless. The Academy banned him for 10 years, Hollywood's way of saying, see you never. His projects got shelved faster than spoiled milk, and the once box office king suddenly couldn't even land a meeting at a Wendy's drive-thru window. But did Will treat this as a wake-up call to chill out and regroup? Of course not. Instead, he came charging back with what might be the most desperate comeback attempt in entertainment history. First stop, music. And, oh man, the music. After 2 decades away from rap, Will returned with Pretty Girls, a track so painfully bland, it made his old stuff sound like Kendrick Lamar's masterpieces. The lyrics? Pretty much, I like pretty girls on repeat until your brain cells packed up and left the chat. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were straight up insulted. The comments were brutal, people calling it a midlife crisis set to auto-tune, and others saying, even my Spotify is embarrassed? The like to dislike ratio looked worse than Logan Paul's crypto portfolio, and that's not the kind of viral anybody's begging for. But Will wasn't done putting us through pain. He started popping up everywhere like a desperate ex who just won't stop texting. Suddenly, he's forcing collabs with KSI and XQC, collabs that felt more like hostage videos than actual partnerships. This is the same man who once had on-screen chemistry with aliens, yet somehow couldn't even vibe with a couple of YouTube streamers.
We have to give, or you have to give?
Well,
Because that'll be...
okay, it's me, yeah.
It's, yeah. So I laugh, you have to pay.
I still pay, yes.
Okay.
Watching Will try to connect with Gen Z was like watching your dad attempt TikTok dances. Sure, it's technically happening, but nobody on Earth wants to see it. The cringe was unbearable. Then came the interviews, which took secondhand embarrassment to a whole new level. Will would sit there bragging about calling up Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar for advice, name-dropping like he was still a big deal. Meanwhile, his streaming numbers were lower than a limbo bar at a dwarf convention, and the kicker, he even claimed Kendrick told him,
"Just say that shit you always been scared to say."
But what Will was too scared to admit. His new music sounded like it was cooked up by a committee of divorced dads trying to be hip, generic, stale, and already forgotten. Then came the most desperate stunt of all, the AI crowd fiasco. Will posted concert footage so obviously fake it made actual deepfakes look embarrassed. You had fans with extra arms, signs that read bland stuff like "I love you, Will," and crowds moving like broken PlayStation controller glitches. The same man who once fought off robots on screen was now relying on robots to fake people still caring about him. The irony was so thick you could slice it with a lightsaber, and of course social media tore him apart. The memes were brutal and honestly kind of earned. Because when you're using tech to fake basic human connection, you've officially crossed into please seek professional help territory of celebrity breakdowns. And the saddest part, none of this even had to happen. Will Smith had it all, the career, the image, the love of the people. But instead of protecting what he built, he turned his private mess into public entertainment and his career into a circus. He went from being Hollywood's golden pick to someone producers now dodge like a shady crypto scheme. The saddest part? Other stars have bounced back from way worse. Robert Downey Jr. literally did prison time and still rose from the ashes to become Iron Man. Britney Spears had a meltdown in front of the whole world and still got her flowers. But Will, his so-called comeback feels forced, robotic, and so thirsty for clout that it's actually making his downfall look even worse. Every interview, every weak track, every fake AI crowd video, it's just a reminder of why people checked out on him in the first place. His latest projects, total letdowns dressed up as comebacks, served cold with an extra side of cringe. Sure, the Bad Boys sequel made some noise, but let's be real. That was nostalgia carrying the weight, not genuine hype. Everything else? Dead silent. The kind of silence you only hear at the world's most awkward family dinners. Even his own fans talk about him like he's gone, mourning the old Will like he got buried under that Oscar slap. The truth is, Will Smith's career isn't just fading, it's a straight-up cautionary tale about what happens when you chase image instead of keeping it real. Will spent so long being the perfect Hollywood husband, the flawless family man, the blockbuster king, that when reality finally hit, he had no clue how to deal with it. Instead of keeping it real about his struggles, he doubled down on the fake perfection, and now nobody buys into anything he does. At this point, Will Smith isn't chasing a comeback. He's just trying to convince himself he never fell off. But the audience? They've moved on. The industry has moved on too, and maybe it's time for Will to face that truth. Because watching a talent like his torch, his own legacy isn't entertaining anymore. It's just plain sad. But what do you think? Can Will Smith actually pull off a real comeback, or is his story already over? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.